everybody. It's Chris Fischer with McInerney talking to Pascale Maslin. She's the owner and founder of Energy Efficiency Experts, an energy auditing firm that she started in 2007. Thanks for joining me, Pascale.
Oh, no, thank you for having me.
As you know, as everyone knows, I not only help folks buy and sell real estate, but I also help them own their homes in between. Homes don't obviously come with a user manual, although YouTube is doing its best to help that. My focus is on making sure people know how to maintain and even grow the value of their homes and be good stewards of their properties in the meantime as much as possible. So introducing my clients and friends to your service is one way I want to be able to do that. I've put together a few questions to whet folks' appetites. Should we get started?
Sure.
Why don't you first start off with what is an energy audit?
Well, typically one thinks about an energy audit as looking at the energy of one's home, like everything in the home that either uses or loses energy. And if you think about efficiency as the relationship between energy input and energy output, then the more efficient a home is, then the less it's going to cost you to heat and cool and maintain. And then secondly, the more comfortable it's going to be. But when I do energy audits, I also look at the comfort and the performance of the house. So I don't call myself an energy auditing company. I actually call myself a home performance company.
Oh.
And so what we do is we look at the entire performance of the home. How is the air being delivered through the ductwork, for example? Is ductwork leaky? If you've got a return duct in the attic that's leaky, then it's drawing air from the attic and bringing it into the house, which number one is expensive. And then number two, it's not healthy. Mm-hmm. So an energy audit today has really expanded its scope to be looking at both efficiency and performance.
How long do they typically take? Like how long does an audit of a single family home or a townhouse typically take?
We have two people doing our audits and it takes somewhere between 2 and 2.5 hours. Okay. So basically between 4 and 5 man hours.
I got you. Okay. And generally, is there a cost, a typical cost for that?
So somewhere between 300 and 400, depending on if we're required to do software programming as well.
Okay. Okay. So back to the audit then. What do you see as the biggest offender of leaks and energy problems?
So hot air.
I'm sorry, performance problems.
Performance problems. Hot air rises. It goes to the top of the house, anywhere where there's leaks. So recessed lights, attic or bathroom fans, attic hatches, any openings between the house and the attic. The warm air escapes out of the house, creates a negative pressure at the bottom of the house, and then air's being drawn in to the basement or to windows and doors at the bottom of the house. And people think, oh, my windows and doors are leaky, not realizing that it's the attic that's driving the train. So sealing the floor of the attic is key to being comfortable and to being efficient.
Okay. Is it possible to overdo it, overseal it, overfix it?
So the answer is yes. And that's why most companies will do a blower door at the time of the audit. And then after the job, they'll do a second blower door because they want you to fall into what's called the ASHRAE standards of air infiltration. So, you think about it, you don't want a completely sealed up house. Your house would start to smell. And you don't want a leaky house because it's drafty and it costs a lot of money. You want to fall into that peak performance zone. So the answer is yes, you can overseal the house. And number two, there are ways to mitigate that where you can still isolate the attic from the house and bring fresh air in from the outside.
Can you elaborate on what the blower door test is and what that does?
So it's an expanding frame. It goes in one of the doors, and then you hang a fan, a high velocity fan from the door, and from the door that we're putting in your door. And so we depressurize the house to 50 pascals of pressure. And what that does is it amplifies issues so they can easily be found. So air leakage issues get amplified, and then we can go around, find them, take photographs of them. And we often find things that we don't expect. You know, like if you're using an infrared camera while you're running a blower door, you can actually see cold air coming in from cantilevers, overhangs, what's called the rim band joist in the basement. You just point the camera there and you can see the temperature difference and see where air is traveling inside of the house.
That
So
sounds like fun.
it's a powerful tool.
Is it necessary to redo the audit? Like if you've done it and you give them a diagnosis of what they should do to repair or fix their home, is there an idea of coming back later and checking in on what they did and taking them maybe further down the path, or how does that work?
So on the older homes, we are looking for the low hanging fruit. Like if I came up with everything, I think it would be so overwhelming. Most people would say no to moving forward. But 65% of your heat loss is through the attic. So when I first do a energy audit, I'm focused on attic ceiling, isolating the attic from the house, adding insulation into the attic. That's number one. And then I'm talking to people about, you know, the age of their hot water heater, the age of their furnace, those kind of things. The second, you know, when you start to think about, okay, what's next after your attic? Well, of course, your walls. You know, when you've got 60, 80-year-old homes, the insulation over time shrinks and then it slumps to the bottom of the cavity. And so your walls have almost no insulation. And, you know, on your second pass, that's what you should be focusing on. Also updating hot water heaters, you know, like having a 50-gallon or 80-gallon tank of hot water that's heated all the time, when maybe you're using hot water for 20 or 30 minutes a day, it doesn't make a lot of sense. You know, switching over to a demand system or a solar hot water heater does make a lot of sense. And that's the kind of thing that you address later on down the line after you've hit all the low-hanging fruit.
Got it. And so when you are making the diagnosis or the, you know, giving people the readout from the audit, do you also have a way for them to make the repairs? Do you have people on your team that can help?
Well, I never thought that I would own a box truck, but I do.
But I'm sure it's a very efficient box truck.
It's a regular box truck.
Okay.
So I have a box truck. I have a insulation blower. I have all the equipment to, you know, take care of attics, to dense pack walls, dense pack ceilings in garages, do crawl spaces, you know, mitigate over sealing. You know, we do the whole gamut.
Got it.
We can air seal ducts. Yeah.
Yeah. It's very sexy.
Well, I think so.
Well, good. So if someone wants to schedule an audit, I understand they need to reach out to George on your team, and we'll include that information with this video, but his phone number for anyone who's interested is 202-557-9200, and George will be the one to help you schedule that audit and have Pascale and her team in. Okay, well, thank you again, Pascale. I appreciate your time, and if you have any a need for an energy audit, and I feel like we all do, please give Pascale's team a call, George, at 202-557-9200. Thanks, Pascale.
Thank you, Chris. Bye.